In my previous video, I discussed the difference between free cash flow and earnings. And if you haven't watched that video, I definitely recommend that you check that out first because it's going to help you understand this video. In today's video, I'm going to discuss the difference between free cash flow and owner earnings. A lot of people get these terms confused. I myself got confused when I first learnt about it. I thought free cash flow and owner earnings were the same thing. But there's actually a key difference, and in today's video, I'm going to explain that difference. Anyway, with that said, let's get right into it. Firstly, a quick reminder on what is free cash flow. Free cash flow is money generated by the main business minus money spent to maintain the main business. To sum it up in an equation, free cash flow equals cash from operations minus capital expenditure. Owner earnings was first mentioned by Warren Buffett in his 1986 letter to shareholders. In that letter, he explains that owner earnings are A, reported earnings plus B, depreciation, depletion, amortization, and certain other non-cash charges, less C, the average annual amount of capitalized expenditures for plant and equipment that the business requires to fully maintain its long-term competitive position. In Buffett's description of owner earnings, A plus B is cash from operations. Then you might be thinking, doesn't C sound like capital expenditure? And if that was the case, wouldn't owner earnings equation be the same as free cash flow? And that's what confused me when I was learning it. But what I found was that C, although it sounds like capital expenditure, it's not exactly that. The key difference is that Buffett further breaks down capital expenditure into two parts: maintenance and growth. As I explained in my last video, capital expenditure is money you need to spend to maintain your main business. However, what I left out was capital expenditure includes money you need to spend to maintain your market share, maintenance capex, and money you need to spend to grow your market share, growth capex. To use our taxi driver example, maintenance capex is replacing your old tires with new ones. Growth capex is upgrading your taxi's engine. One keeps your taxi running as before, the other makes your taxi run even better. To sum it up in an equation, owner earnings is cash from operations minus maintenance capex. What we need to do now is somehow extract maintenance capex out of capital expenditure. There are three ways to extract maintenance capex out of capital expenditure. I'm going to go through each of these methods and give you my opinion. The best way is for the business to tell you exactly how much they spent on maintenance capex and growth capex in the financial report. Unfortunately, it's extremely rare. I've yet to come across a business that does this. Some businesses will give you a breakdown of the capital expenditure. You can then interpret what is maintenance capex and what is growth capex. For example, Alibaba says that they're building new corporate campuses, and since this is new construction, you can assume that it is growth capex. My only concern with this method is that you're making assumptions based on simple descriptions that can lead to error. Most businesses will list their capital expenditure without any breakdown, and your last resort is to use a formula that you find online to calculate the maintenance capex. Now, I have major concerns with this method because I've yet to come across a formula that totally makes sense to me, and this type of one formula fits all types of industries can lead to incorrect assumptions. Now, if you do use a formula and you think that you've got a really good one and it makes a lot of sense, let me know in the comments section. There is really no perfect way to do this. I personally use the first two methods. If a business tells you exactly how much they spent on maintenance and growth capex, or if they break down the total capital expenditure, then use it. If not, you should treat the total capital expenditure as the maintenance capex. Essentially what you're doing is going back to free cash flow. Now, the advantages of going back to free cash flow is that you are using the most conservative cash flow when calculating the intrinsic value, therefore increasing your margin of safety and protecting you against overpaying for businesses. I hope you got some good value out of today's video. If you want to help me out, give this video a like and also subscribe to my channel. Have a good week, and I'll see you in the next video.